Welcome back to Fire Princess Reviews. I'm Fire Princess Lily here to tell you about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd stuff. So, today we're talking about Cowboy Bebop. We're talking about my top 5 favorite episodes from Cowboy Bebop. Why? Because it just felt right. And I'm wearing my favorite Cowboy Bebop shirt. It's got Ein on it. This is like, you might not know if you've never watched this channel before, but Cowboy Bebop, it's not like I mention it all the time, but it is my favorite anime of all time. I love Cowboy Bebop so much. So, let's talk about it. Why are the videos coming so late, you ask? Well, shit's happening. Especially with my schedule around here. And, well, it's just stressful. So, we're doing some serotonin and getting this ready to just go. It's time to go on this, right? Okay, so let's get into this. Why only 5? Why not 10? Because with a 10 episode list, I could probably take up an entire 40 minutes or so just talking about Cowboy Bebop because I love the show so much. And I want to give you a little bit of a synopsis of each episode and why it is where it is in my list. Sort of like with the Dragon Ball Z fights and the Naruto fights, or even the Miyazaki top 5. I just want you guys to know why, you know? Give my reasons. And with the top 10, it'd take way too long. So let's get into this. Let's start out at number 5. To dispel, well, let's start out by saying that Real Folk Blues Part 1 and 2 will not appear on this list. They're great episodes. I really struggled on where they go on my list because they're definitely in my top 10. They're not in my top 5. So what is at number 5 if I'm not putting Real Folk Blues anywhere on the top 5? First episode. Very first episode of the series, Asteroid Blues, sets the tone of the entire series. Like, it's amazing, right? So Jet and Spike are on a kind of colony asteroid sort of thing where people live, you know, fields have been made. It's kind of like Little Tijuana almost, in like the tone. And they're looking for a drug dealer who stole like some serious drug called Bloody Eye from the Syndicate. Syndicate's super important in this show. If you've never watched it, go watch it. And they're after him, and it just gets so crazy because Spike runs into this drug thief's lady. She looks pregnant, and he does Spike. He's flirtatious. He's funny. Sleight of hand tricks. Nearly dies. It's all Spike. But even as fun and as upbeat as the episode is, everything, this is in true Cowboy Bebop fashion, as everything's going way uphill and being awesome, and we get all these cool action pieces, and it's this is going to turn out a certain way, and then it doesn't. It turns totally to this melancholy sadness as Maria, realizes that everything that Asimov has been telling her about how they're going to sell these drugs, go to Mars, start a new life, she realizes that Mars is never going to come. It's never going to happen. Sort of like the song There Is No Arizona. It's because in that song, a man has promised this woman that, oh yeah, they're going to go to Arizona someday and live the good life. And that's what happens in this episode of Cowboy Bebop, is she realizes it's a lie. They're never going to Mars. It's never happening. And so instead of letting the police take him, or letting Spike and Jet take him for, to be traded for money, she shoots them right there in their getaway craft just before the police fire down on them and destroy the whole thing. It's very somber, it's sad, and it kind of lets you know sort of what sort of show you're getting into. This is not going to be the most happy anime. So that's why that one's number 5. Number 4, Cowboy Funk. What a stupid episode. If you know all the episodes by name, I know all the episodes by name, you're looking at me right now really? Cowboy Funk is your number 4. It could have been anything else, even Toys in the Attic, but you're choosing Cowboy Funk anywhere in your top 10? And yes, I am, because what a truly great departure from the rest of the series, right? Because the rest of the series is sort of, like the first episode. It's somber-ish. Like, even when things are going good, they're never going that good. And so this is a truly great episode because it starts off with the gang looking for the teddy bear bomber. It's this guy. He used to work for the government. Now he's all, like, cynical and disenfranchised. And so he leaves bombs shaped like teddy bears to blow up places. And he's got this whole manifesto. But also hunting for the teddy bear bomber is another bounty hunter named Andy the Cowboy. And he's got a horse. He's got, like, the whole, like, Western motif. He's riding in on a white horse in a white suit. And he just pisses Spike off. There's something about Andy that he hates. And it's kind of that they're similar in a way in their attitude. And so they both rub each other the wrong way. So every time they're trying to catch the teddy bear bomber, whether it's Spike or it's Andy, they're getting in each other's way. And they royally piss each other off. So the teddy bear bomber, like, releases a message like, I'm going to destroy this building at this time with my teddy bears. You better show up and stop me or be here for the fireworks. So Spike says, I'm going alone. And he, like, heads over to the place. He shows up and the teddy bear's like, you're here to get me. You're here to arrest me. But first you're going to have to listen to, like, the reason that I did it. And Spike's like, yeah, what the fuck ever, I don't care. Where's that Andy motherfucker, right? And so Andy shows up and he's like, I don't care about the teddy bear bomber either. And the two fight. The building blows up and you think that would be like the end of it, but no. They fight in the wreckage. They're just like punching and kicking. It's like the most amazing thing. And it's totally hilarious. Jet arrests the teddy bear bomber in the end, and the two basically knock each other out. It's great. The episode ends with Andy riding alongside the transport for the teddy bear bomber as a samurai. He's decided he no longer wants to be a cowboy. It's dumb, but I love it. Okay. Number 3. Whereas Cowboy Funk is a kind of departure from the overall tone of the series. I mean, there are other episodes that are just as much a departure, like Mushroom Samba, or a number of these episodes. Even the one with the Grand Chess Master, total departure as well. I can't quite remember the name of it right after I just bragged about knowing every episode by name. Whoops. So, never brag about anything. But where those are total departures from the show's overall tone, Waltz for Venus is 100% in line with everything. Like, it is 100% Cowboy Bebop. It's got some good comedy. It's got great action sets. Spike, Jet, and Faye are on the trail of some bounty heads, like a certain gang, right? And along the way, Spike meets Rocco. Rocco is like this guy who saw Spike like easily take down some like guy attacking with a knife on a plane with like nothing. He just like went whoop whoop whoop, because Spike's a practitioner of Jeet Kune Do, and so yeah, Spike's a little designed after Bruce Lee. He's designed after a lot of things, but that's one of his mixtures is Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. So Rocco is like, you've got to teach me how to do that. That's like, come on, be my master. Come on, I can do it. And Spike's like, oh, okay. Well, lesson number 1, be like water, which is, yeah. Be like water is basically Spike saying, hey, just go with the flow. when somebody comes to attack you, just be like a river and use that energy to send them somewhere else. You know, like, use it against them. Now, as Spike is forming a connection with Roko, it does turn out that Roko's a part of this gang, this really, like, it's a big bounty. Like, it'd be great for the crew of the Bebop because they have a terrible track record. But they stole a particular, like, high-dollar, rare plant, and Roko's the one who's holding on to it. He gives it over to Spike because he sees, like, his other, like, gang members. Like, he's like, uh-oh, phew, here, hold on to this for me. It's, like, all wrapped up, and he, like, runs away, and Spike's like, as they figure out that, this is the gang, Spike opens up the package and is like, oh, of course it's the thing that they stole. It turns out that Roko has a sister who has, like, a rare, not necessarily a rare, but she's blind because of chemicals that the upper Martians have put into the atmosphere that came down and, or they're on Venus. It's one of the two. Anyway, the point is she's blind, and the only cure is this plant. So that's why Roko stole it. He gets mixed up in, like, with the bad people because it's all for his little sister. And it costs him. Even though Roko actually does takes what Spike taught him and uses that technique to be like water to, like, stop himself from, like, being attacked. As soon as he's, like, proud of himself and he says, hey, Spike, did you see me? I did it. I was like water. And Spike's like, good job. And then Roko gets shot. It's like, oh. Yeah, so Roko dies. And so Spike goes to visit his little sister. She's in the hospital. He's like, he'd already visited her once before. But, she's like, did you hear? Roko got me the medicine to fix my eyes. I can't wait to see him, so you better tell him when it's happening, because he's the first person I want to see. And it's sad, because she's like, my brother wasn't a very good person, was he? He was bad. And Spike's like, you know what? Your brother was exactly the person that you thought he was. Like, it's really touching. It's really nice, because Spike's always been shown to be sort of a cynic and a truth teller. And in this one moment, he kind of lets that go, and he lets her have some kind of peace, like a ideal that she's held on to about her brother. Even though she's heard all these horrible things, like he steals, he's with the wrong people, she's always thought he was a good person, but now that he's dead and not coming, maybe he was a bad person all along. And Spike's like, no, you know, he's exactly the kind of person that you thought he was. Because he kind of was. But he doesn't need to go into any more detail, and that's why this is one of my favorite episodes. That's why it's number 3. It was actually kind of hard to place these top 3 because I love them all so much. So let's go into number 2 real fast. Number 2, Heavy Metal Queen. It's another one of those departure episodes almost. It kind of like skirts the line, but basically everybody is on the lookout for this bounty who's stolen, like, these really dangerous and explosive chemicals. Now, Spike's got a hangover. He runs into Victoria Tripskidday. You don't know what her name actually is until the end. She just goes by VT, because there's a running bet that she has with everybody that they can't guess what her name is. She's got a big old wad of cash. But Spike makes friends with her even though she doesn't like bounty hunters. And once she discovers that he's a bounty hunter, she's like, you're a fucking dumbass, doofus motherfucker. Like, who's like selling people for money. So you can have a livelihood, you sell other people to, like, the police. Eat shit. Like, whatever. Right? But, she's a trucker. She's a space trucker, which is, like, sounds like the coolest job for some reason. I don't know why. I don't even want to be, like, a regular trucker, but I want to do it in space. I don't know. Anyway, one of her buddies runs into this guy, because apparently he's running a rig, too. And he's running a specific rig with, like, a goddess painted on the side. And she's like, wait, that sounds like the person that Spike was looking for. And so she goes to hunt him down. She ends up running into Spike and Faye in these mines, where like these abandoned mines. They're abandoned because the slightest fucking spark could set everything off, and they could all die. It's not good. The bounty ends up dying. They're trapped in the mines, and basically it's like really, really tense. It's a tense episode. Like, it's an earlier episode, so you know that nobody's actually going to die. Nobody important. Maybe Victoria might, but it's still tense. Like, the music has stopped for the most part, and they're just kind of like slowly working their way through these mines, trying to, you know, get out of there. And they end it all on like exploding Spike's ship in order to get out of there all safe. It's a great episode with a lot of interesting characters, and I like VT a whole lot. She's got a cat that goes everywhere with her. Like, it's a good episode. Check that one out. I mean, check out the whole series. Like, they're playing it on Cartoon Network still, I think. I don't know. I own it on DVD and Blu-ray. I would own it on so many other things if I could, but the VHS tapes like cost $700 each because they're collector's items at this point. So I can't. Ah, goodness. Which brings us to number one. What is my number one Cowboy Bebop episode? It could be anything. It's not the Real Folk Blues. A lot of people love it because it's the perfect ending to an anime. It's not ambiguous in any way. It is just a solid goddamn ending. And it's true. It is. It maybe even deserves a spot on my number 5 list. Maybe I'm just being stubborn about it and putting it at number 6 when it doesn't need to be. But what is my number one? It is the only other 2-part episode saga, right? Every other episode in Cowboy Bebop, it's all connected by like an is like by a world. Like, none of the smaller stories are necessarily connected, but the plot that around them kind of gets you to the end. So they're all connected in that they're not connected, sort of way. Like, the destination isn't as important as like the journey within, because every episode is supposed to be self-contained. Like, you can sit down and watch this from any episode, know who the characters are, and enjoy it. You don't need to necessarily have everything else with it. At least that was the intention when it was created. Like, small movies inside each episode, more or less. Each episode's supposed to be like a standalone movie, kind of. Whew. So, the only other 2-part episode, this is 2 episodes where the stories are absolutely connected and you need part 1 to understand part 2, is Jupiter Jazz. This is a truly true episode of Cowboy Bebop. Like, I've already talked about, like, the Asteroid Blues and Waltz for Venus, but Jupiter Jazz really gets the melancholy going. Spike takes off to Jupiter. Not necessarily Jupiter, but one of its moons. I don't remember which one particularly. Because he's looking for Julia. There's a whole thing about Julia, and you find it out about it a little bit in Ballad of Fallen Angels, but there's a hint about where she may be. And so he heads there. He meets somebody called Ren, and that's episode 2. Episode 1 is they're looking for Faye, because Faye's run off again. There's going to be a train. She meets Ren, finds out, stuff about him. He served in the war on Titan, and he's a real sad figure. Meanwhile, Spike is also on the planet looking initially for Faye, but running into old contacts, Vicious and Lynn. Yep. I might have that one guy's name wrong. Whew, I'm super embarrassed by that. But Spike is supposed to be looking for Faye, and it's not going well because he can't leave Vicious alone, especially after Ballad of Fallen Angels, especially the history that they share. And he kind of gets punked a little bit. Like, he gets shot, but it's like a trank dart, not an actual kill shot. He feels pissed about it. But basically, it's a whole plot. It's a whole big, sad plot about this guy. We're calling him Ren with a W because I might not be right on that. And it makes me really angry with myself. But it's a whole plan. He's playing like this coded message for Vicious to pick up on, because that way he'll think it's Julia, because it's a whole thing. And then he can exact his revenge, because Vicious served on Titan as well, but framed Ren for a crime that he didn't commit, like transmitting data to the enemy, like giving away positions, getting a lot of people killed. And so, because of that, he went to prison for a long time where they experimented on him. It's a very, very sad story. Like, it's just, there's no touch of, there's some comedy, there is some good, like, action pieces. Like, I like to say that, I like that term. But overall, just a real somber bummer of an episode. And I think it really encapsulates the feel of Cowboy Bebop so much. And it ends with Ren dying and asking Spike to put the coordinates for Titan into his busted ass ship and sending him on his way. And Spike's like, you're never gonna make it there. This thing's never gonna make it there. He's like, I just want to go. He's like, okay. He tows him out into space and lets him go. And it's very, very, like, touching. And it's a good episode. So definitely, that's my top 5. Check them all out. Check out the whole series. It's been out for a long ass time. 20 years as of last year. So we're at 21 years of Cowboy Bebop. It's still my favorite anime of all time. Maybe that's nostalgia. Maybe it's just really well put together. You ever think about that? Go check it out. Anyway, next time we're going to talk about Mr. and Mrs. X. It's a comic book, Rogan Gambit. Check that out. Anyway, and until then, love comics, love cartoons. I will see you in the next episode. Bye!